Chosen one, what I'm about to share will change everything you thought you knew. They are realizing now, those forces that once tried to control you, to bend you to their will, that you are the God they cannot command. You are not just a follower of divine will, you are God's master, the ultimate authority beyond their grasp. This realization is causing panic among the rulers of heaven and hell, because your power is undeniable and uncontrollable. You are the unstoppable force rewriting destiny on your own terms. If you are watching this, it's no accident. The universe is aligning to reveal your true sovereignty, and everything you have long awaited is shifting into your reality. To fully step into this truth, you must understand the magnitude of your emergence and claim your rightful place as the master of divinity itself. Before we dive deeper into this life-changing message, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 20,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This number sends a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this message. This is your moment. Watch closely, because the world as they knew it is trembling before your rise. You stand not just as a presence, but a roaring force, a tempest unleashed. When they sense your rise, their hearts shatter with recognition. They know you won't be caged, won't be commanded. Your essence pulses with defiance, forging an aura of inevitable dominion that ripples across dimensions. In that moment, you become an unstoppable tide. Every heartbeat you evoke stirs the cosmos itself. You are the quake beneath trembling gods, the whisper that topples thrones, the relentless surge of sovereignty. They quake because they glimpse the raw truth. Your power is not borrowed, not fragile. It is born of cosmic will. In their fear, you become legend, not a myth whispered in shadows, but the living essence of a revolution so vast that every star rewrites its path to orbit around your emergence. You are the unstoppable, uncontained, unyielding, unchallenged. You are the force that cannot be labeled or placated. Chains crumble in your presence, illusions evaporate under your gaze, and every whispered command dissolves before your will. They dread you, not because they doubt your power, but because they know it is final, and there is no resistance capable of halting what you embody. You were not chosen by fate, you claimed it. Neither angels nor infernal archons laid the crown upon your head. You forged it yourself, burning through every barrier with the fire of your resolve. You stand beyond all dichotomies, transcending gods and demons alike. In that exalted realm beyond duality, you become authority incarnate. No celestial decree, no infernal pact, no divine intervention binds you. Your sovereignty is singular, absolute, not granted, but self-created, self-possessed, and unshakable. They mew in awe and terror, for they know no power stands parallel to yours. Even their sacred covenants and unholy alliances flicker and fade in comparison. You are the fulcrum on which the balance of all realms pivots, and the scales now tilt irrevocably in your favor. The chosen sovereign walks not in borrowed glory, but in the authority of their own making. Your voice does not echo with borrowed creed. It resonates with the song of creation itself. You are the sovereign who redefined sovereignty. Feel the swirl of countless dimensions bending to your will, gods reeling in orbit around that inexorable center, you. Look to the heavens and see. Thrones of gold shatter, pillars of hell crack, each trembling as your light grows. They fear the collapse of what they believed perpetual, The foundations they built upon fear crack under the weight of your arrival. Their trembling is not just dread, it is the seismic shift of centuries. Each crown, forged in dominion and bound by fear, now trembles in that shocking realization: they are not masters, they are mere relics in your wake. That quake is the sound of their authority dissolving. You embody inevitability. When you rise, there is no recourse, no veto, no council strong enough to defy you. The very ideals that formed divine monarchy, omnipotence, order, hierarchy, bend toward the gravity of your presence. And their fear propels you closer, like gravity drawing the unmovable. For every trembling heartbeat, they gift you a new realm conquered, a new axis shifted, a new testament written into the fabric of existence. You are the force transcending even the divine. Chains, physical, metaphysical, celestial, they all yield to the God who chooses not to be bound. Every constraint shatters like fragile glass when they try to contain your will. Even the strongest locks, forged in divine suffering, crumble at your presence. You are the embodiment of freedom in its most extreme form. Not freedom as a concept, but as living, breathing essence, unrestricted, unrepentant, undeniable. They thought law could define you, hierarchy quell you. Instead, they stirred the storm they could not contain. And now, chains fall, ideals fracture, illusions fall apart in the face of your refusal to submit. Your authority is the fracture point of all forms of bondage, revealing truth beneath. No chain can hold what refuses to be bound. And that is the essence of your mastery. You break free, and in that act, you master the masters. The gods who claimed dominion, the demons who traded fear for power, they all bend before your emancipation. Your escape becomes their own unraveling, your liberation their collapse. With each step that defies expectation, you become the unstoppable pivot of destiny itself. The masters of masters shudder, suddenly uncertain if they ever truly controlled anything. You have become the model of freedom so profound it dissolves their identity of rule. You walk from chains shattered into the halls of power, not as supplicant, but as the sculptor who carved the very thrones they occupy. Their mastery was built on beaten fear. Your mastery is forged in unleashed purpose. Now they serve your revolution. They follow not because they must, but because the gravity of your will eclipses every former creed. Freedom was once a word. They now feel it manifest. When the cosmos ripples, the rulers of heaven and hell break into panic. Their cries echo across realms. Who is this being intolerable? Who is this sovereign that shakes our foundations? In their panic, your true authority is revealed, unmasked, undeniable, terrifyingly beautiful. You aren't cloaked in subtlety, you are a shockwave. Their panic is the confession of your dominion, the resonance of your truth. In their fracturing fear, they unmask the lie of their omnipotence and expose the heart of your power. It's not just fear, it is the unraveling of all pretense. They thought themselves immovable. You showed them you are the one axis that shifts worlds. In their desperation, they testify to the totality of your reign. Let the tremor of their panic echo in every realm, a symphony of admission. You are authority, pure and unassailable. Absolutely, here is the complete continuation of the emotionally rich, human-crafted script from heading 7 to 15, each with 5 long, engaging paragraphs infused with emotional resonance, metaphorical power, and compelling narrative. This continues the energy and language style established in the first 6 sections. You were never meant to be a servant. The very thought of kneeling burns through your soul like wildfire. Control was the illusion forced upon you by the architects of fear, those who crowned themselves divine and demanded obedience as tribute. But the truth you've unearthed is this: control collapses in the presence of awakened will. And your will? It is blinding, primal, divine. You are not just rebelling, you are becoming. Every breath you take, every step you claim in defiance is a declaration: I am not yours to govern. Where others begged for mercy, you forged your own destiny. Where they gave in to the gods' verdicts, you rewrote the verdict entirely. You didn't run from control. You turned and shattered it in its strongest form. You are the rebellion that cannot be quelled, not by blade, not by gospel, not by fear. Your rise is a spiritual insurrection, a mutiny of the soul. You've lit a fire that spreads across worlds, toppling the ancient order like leaves in the storm. Their silence is not peace. It is the echo of surrender. They tried to tame you, to fit you into a narrative where you would serve, obey, die quiet. But you refused. You are the story they can't contain, the page that writes itself, the ink that spills over holy books and declares, "This is mine now." The rebellion is not an act, it is your nature. And because you rebelled, the world remembered what freedom truly feels like. You're not just fighting for yourself, you've become the symbol of everything that refuses to kneel. Your existence is proof that even gods can be defied. What is a throne if the one who built it no longer believes in its power? What is a god if their followers no longer feel awe, only fear? You see through the illusion. The divine hierarchy was never about truth or destiny. It was about keeping you small, afraid, and obedient. But now, your clarity is a hammer. Every tier of heaven, every circle of hell, every divine ladder meant to make you climb toward approval. You've smashed it. You don't climb, you ascend. You don't follow the steps laid before you, you create the mountain itself. The illusion that someone is above you has collapsed, and they know it. You see them now, trembling behind masks of light and shadow. There is no God above you, only beings too weak to face your reflection. The hierarchy was a mirage, a trick to keep you questioning your worth. But the truth has taken shape in your hands. Divinity is not limited to the few. It erupts from the many who dare. And you dared beyond what anyone could imagine. They whisper among themselves, trying to rebuild the illusion. But it's too late. You've shattered it for all to see. Their commandments, their judgments, their holy decrees, they scatter like dust. And from that dust rises a new truth. That power belongs to the one who sees through the lie and still chooses to rise. Your existence is a fracture in the cosmic pyramid. You are not a step in their ladder. You are the storm that brings it crashing down. You remember what it felt like to be a servant, taught to obey, punished for dreaming, praised for silence. But that version of you is gone, dead. In their place stands something unimaginable, not just free, but ruling. The journey from submission to supremacy was brutal, but you never stopped walking. They called you small once. They labeled you a vessel, a tool, a follower of greater wills. But each label became another broken shard at your feet. You didn't just survive, you transformed. You refused to let your soul be shackled by someone else's definition of greatness. You tore out the roots they planted in your spirit and grew your own kingdom. Now you speak, and the world listens. You move, and dimensions realign. Your authority is not assumed, it is felt. It does not ask permission, it simply is. You do not imitate power. You embody it, carry it, own it. And those who once held dominion now kneel, not because you asked, but because they must. You no longer seek approval. You don't ask to be seen. You are unignorable. You are not a product of their systems. You are the proof that those systems never had the final say. From the ruins of their rule, you have built something unshakable, your own dominion. And the world has never seen anything like you, because the ones who once served are now the ones who decide the fate of all things. Reality was not written in stone. It was carved in fear. But you no longer live by its limitations. You looked at the laws of existence and said, no. And in that refusal, the cosmos itself began to shift. You aren't following fate's design. You're rewriting the whole damn script. They told you reality was fixed, that the gods shaped it, that you were just a grain of dust in a grand divine order. But now they see you're not dust, you're the hand that sculpts the stars. When you speak, the fabric of the universe listens. When you decide, new futures are born. The shift is unstoppable. What once seemed permanent is now pliable under your will. Mountains move. Time bends. Light darkens or shines based on your decree. This is not magic. This is not fantasy. This is the raw, unfiltered power of self-realized divinity breaking the code of creation. They fear this shift because it cannot be reversed. You've opened a door that will never close. A reality dictated not by old gods or ancient laws, but by you. Your will is the new commandment, your vision, the new law of nature. And nothing they do can undo what you've begun. So let them watch the sky tremble. Let them see the stars realign. You are the epicenter now, the axis of all that is, was, or will be. You are not from heaven. You are not born of hell. You are something far more terrifying, free from both. Your power doesn't answer to thrones of gold or flames of punishment. It is beyond divine currency. It defies every label they try to put on it. Heaven tried to claim you. Hell tried to tempt you. Both failed, because you don't need their approval, their salvation, or their damnation. You are a new element, a force untethered by morality or corruption. And in your freedom, they see what true power looks like. Raw, pure, and unfiltered. You are the ghost in their machine, the anomaly they didn't plan for, the breach in their endless war. You walk between their realms, untouched by either's lies, untethered by either's chains. And when you speak, even angels flinch, even demons kneel. They try to call you heretic. They try to cast you out. But how do you cast out the center of everything? Their rules cannot contain what never belonged. You've become the one thing both heaven and hell fear most, a power they cannot control, predict, or stop. And that's what makes you unstoppable, because the only authority you answer to is you. Listen closely, not with ears, but with spirit, and you'll hear it, the quiet collapse of ancient systems, the old temples, the old creeds, the old kings. They're crumbling, and they don't fall with thunder, they fall with silence. The silence of belief fading, the silence of fear disappearing. You didn't destroy them with war. You didn't need to. You simply became more. You became something so powerful, so complete that their very foundations rotted under the weight of your presence. You didn't scream for revolution. You breathed, and reality shifted. The systems that once governed minds, shaped cultures, and dictated destinies have no power over you. Their sacred texts crumble under your fingertips. Their rituals falter in your presence. Because when the truth walks into the room, the lie has nowhere left to hide. They built their empires on control. You dissolve them with liberation. And now the world watches, not with chaos, but with clarity. It sees what happens when old gods fall and new truths rise. And you are that truth, standing tall where empires fall. You didn't need to be loud, you just needed to be real. And realness is the one thing false power can never survive. You don't knock at doors, you blow them open. You don't ask for permission, you take space. You are the storm, not a gentle breeze or a whisper of change, but a divine hurricane tearing down the rot. Thrones don't crumble slowly in your presence, they explode. You are chaos with purpose, fury with vision. Every step you take sends shockwaves through the old order. The kings, gods, and tyrants who thought themselves eternal now stand exposed, naked beneath the downpour of your wrath and renewal. You don't destroy for pleasure, you destroy to rebuild, to make space for a world not shaped by fear, but by freedom. And yes, your storm is violent, but it is necessary, because rot doesn't go quietly. It must be ripped out, and you are the force to do it. They call you dangerous. Of course they do. To them, you are extinction. To the rest of us, you are rebirth. You are the rain after drought, the thunder after silence, the force of change too long denied. And thrones? They were never meant to last forever, because this world doesn't need rulers anymore. It needs you. You are not just rewriting rules. You're writing reality. You are the architect of futures no one dared dream. Your thoughts become structure. Your vision becomes law. Your will reshapes the very building blocks of existence. Creation is no longer the realm of deities. It's yours now. They once claimed it with their myths and their might, but now they look on in awe as you craft a new kind of cosmos, one where freedom is the foundation, not fear. Your laws are not cages. They are wings. They do not bind. They uplift. In your world, power serves purpose. Strength serves truth. And creation no longer comes from on high. It rises from within, from souls like yours that refuse to be still. Let the gods watch. Let the old creators weep. For you have taken their gift and done what they never could. You've shared it. You've made creation accessible. You are the master not just of power, but of purpose. And there is no going back. The new laws have already taken root, and their source is you. This is it, the final crown. Not one offered by trembling hands or decreed by faded texts, but one earned through fire, fury, and unshakable will. You are not just divine, you are the one who masters divinity itself. You've walked among gods and refused to bow. You've stood before demons and didn't flinch. You didn't just survive, you transcended. And now, all forces, light, dark, mortal, eternal, recognize you as what you truly are, the final authority. You don't wear this crown to rule others. You wear it to embody the truth that no power is beyond question, no fate beyond rewriting. The final crown isn't the end. It's the beginning. the beginning of a world that answers not to fear, but to freedom. You are no one's subject. You are no one's chosen. You are you, unchained, awakened, infinite. The final power they could never predict, the last sovereign, the master of all that came before and all that will come after. And now that you wear the crown, they will never forget your name. You were never meant to awaken. They buried your truth beneath centuries of ritual, doctrine, and fear. They hoped you'd forget who you were, something sacred, something limitless. But the truth can only stay buried so long. And now that it rises, it's not a whisper, it's a roar. The silence they tried to trap you in has erupted into something no force can quiet. The awakening wasn't sudden. It crept through your bones like sunlight, warming frozen skin. Every doubt they fed you melted in the fire of your remembrance. Every time they said, "You can't," your soul replied, "Watch me." And so, you did. You watched yourself rise, not as something new, but as what you were always meant to be. They feel it now, that terrible clarity, the realization that their lies can't hold shape against your becoming. They see the fire behind your eyes, the steady pulse of infinite strength returning to its rightful owner. You don't owe them answers. You don't owe them forgiveness. Your existence is the response. You are what happens when silence breaks, when the myth of power is exposed by the truth of identity, when awakening isn't an accident, but a storm. Your breath breaks spells. Your presence unravels chains. And your voice, once silenced, is now the thunder they cannot mute. So let them tremble in their temples. Let them clutch their relics. For you, the silenced, have become the sovereign, and the world will never sleep again. They crown themselves kings, draped in gold and divinity, demanding allegiance from trembling hands. But their power was stolen, not earned, built on fear, not reverence. And now, you've become the fire they never planned for. Not a flicker, but an all-consuming blaze. You don't ask permission to burn. You don't seek approval to rise. You are the match they never saw coming. The spark in the dark that raises their thrones to ash. Every title they claimed now turns to smoke. Every decree burns beneath the weight of your truth. They called you a heretic. They labeled you dangerous. They tried to extinguish your essence with shame and silence. But how do you smother something born of cosmic flame? How do you bury fire? You can't. It devours, it purifies, and it leaves behind only what's real. Your fire doesn't destroy for the sake of chaos. It destroys to cleanse, to make room for something true. In its heat, the false kings are revealed for what they always were, hollow. And in the space where they once ruled, you now stand, unburned, unbroken, and undeniable. So let the world watch the smoke rise. Let them see the ashes of the old world fall. You are not the destruction. You are the rebirth. They locked it away. The knowledge, the strength, the truth that you were more than flesh, more than follower, more than pawn. They called it forbidden, dangerous, unnatural. But what they feared was not the power. It was you with the power. Because they knew, the moment you touched that truth, you'd never serve again. The moment you tasted that divinity, you'd reclaim everything they stole. And that moment has come. You've broken the seal. You've found what they hid. And it's more magnificent than they ever imagined. The forbidden power isn't dark, it's raw. It doesn't bow to rules. It doesn't answer to fear. It answers to will, and your will is boundless. You've become the key and the flame. You don't borrow power, you are the power. And now they scramble to contain what can't be caged. Their old laws, old curses, old judgments, they crumble like dust. Because when the forbidden becomes embodied, it ceases to be taboo. It becomes the new divine. You are hafsho, what was forbidden. You are what was feared. And now, you are free. You have stepped into spaces they said were sacred, reserved for the holy, the chosen, the divine. But you didn't ask. You walked, not with arrogance, but with memory. Because deep down, you always knew you belong here. The gates they said were closed opened like mist before your presence. The paths they said would consume you bent beneath your steps. And now the gods, the watchers, the eternal scribes, they don't stop you. They watch, in awe, in disbelief, in fear. Because no mortal was supposed to stand here. No flesh and blood was meant to breathe in this air. But you are not just mortal. You are the intersection of all that is. A soul so immense that even divinity must make space. You walk where only gods dared, not to mock them, but to remind them. That power is not their privilege. That sacredness is not exclusion. That truth is not reserved for the few. You are the living proof that greatness knows no gatekeeper. And as you ascend, they don't challenge you, they move aside. Because they see now, you are what comes next. Worship was never your way. Reverence, yes. Honor, yes. But not submission. You were never meant to kneel. Your soul has always been a wildfire, too wild to be tamed, too free to be trained. They tried to teach you otherwise, told you that piety was silence, that loyalty meant blindness, but you refused, not out of rebellion, but out of alignment. Your loyalty was never to a throne, it was to truth. And truth is messy. It doesn't wear robes or demand offerings. It challenges, confronts, and calls you to rise beyond comfort. That's what you worship, not idols, but essence, not doctrine, but depth. And because of that, they called you dangerous. But what is more sacred than a soul that refuses to lie? What is more holy than a being who walks with honesty blazing from their eyes? You don't worship, you embody. You are the altar, the flame, the prayer that burns through pretense. You are the soul too wild for chains, too vast for rituals. And now, they must either evolve or be consumed by your truth. They thought a crown made the ruler. That gold and ritual were the gateway to authority. But you arrived without a crown, without a scepter, without a title, and the world still bowed. Because real power doesn't come from symbols. It radiates from the soul, and yours is a furnace of unrelenting force. You didn't need coronation. You didn't need anointing. Your command was not inherited, it was claimed. Every breath you take bends reality closer to your will. Every word you speak rewrites what power looks like. You have no court, no throne, and yet the stars tremble in your orbit. You are the crownless king, the sovereign without lineage or legacy, because your very existence is both origin and destiny. Where others trace their bloodline to prove right to rule, you traced your spirit through chaos, fire, and truth. And that they cannot duplicate, that they cannot fake. The gods who once looked down on you now watch in stunned silence, because you have become what they could never be, authentic. You rule not from fear, but from presence. You don't demand obedience. You draw reverence simply by being unshakably you. Let them keep their crowns, Let them cling to symbols and ceremonies. You need none of it, because when you walk, kingdoms follow. And when you stand still, the universe listens. You are not made of dust alone. You are forged from galaxies, sculpted by lightning, carried in the heartbeat of storms and silence. Your spirit carries the echoes of supernovas and the hunger of creation itself. You are the child of stardust and defiance, of beauty too wild for names. The world wanted to tell you who you were. They tried to force you into smallness, into linear stories with safe endings. But your soul screamed louder. Your bloodline defied history. You are not descended from kings. You are descended from cosmic fire, the kind of lineage no scroll could ever contain. Every time they told you stay in line, your bones remembered the stars. Every time they tried to shrink your light, your blood surged with ancient thunder. You are not of this world entirely, and they feel it. You are a storm walking in human skin, and they will never control a tempest. You come from a legacy older than scripture, wilder than prophecy. You are not just human, you are reminder. You are what existence becomes when it refuses to die quietly. The sacred in motion, the infinite in defiance. So when they ask you who you are, say nothing. Just let the sky darken and the wind rise. Let them see your ancestry in the storm that follows. They feared what they couldn't control, so they gave it a name: chaos. They called you wild, dangerous, unpredictable, but they never saw the truth, that your chaos wasn't destruction, it was transformation. You weren't the end, you were the next stage. You didn't come to break things just to watch them fall. You came to remove what no longer served. You came to clear the rot and make room for something greater. They called it ruin, but it was rebirth. They just couldn't understand a force that didn't ask for permission to evolve. You didn't wait for them to approve. You didn't fit into their clean, pre-written definitions of progress. You exploded past them, like fire cleansing a forest, like water washing away a dying shore. You are movement, growth, the holy discomfort that comes before awakening. The old world was static, controlled, comfortable. You were never meant to survive in it. You were meant to change it. And that change doesn't look pretty. It looks like thunder and shattering glass and midnight screams. But in that storm, a new light is born. So let them keep calling you chaos. You've already outgrown the word, because what they fear isn't disorder, it's evolution with a face. They spent centuries building laws meant to keep you small, meant to keep power concentrated in hands too weak to carry it honestly. They called it order, but it was always control. And now, you've become the one thing their laws never accounted for: a sovereign that does not need permission. You don't wait for the world to tell you it's time. You don't ask for authority. You simply are authority. Your presence rewrites policy. Your breath is a declaration. You are the law that doesn't wear a robe or hold a gavel. You are the embodiment of cosmic truth without apology. When they see you coming, they scramble to enforce the old rules. But those rules were written for a world that no longer exists. You are the new order, the walking verdict, the final say. They can't legislate against your will because you invented your own court and crowned your own cause. Justice is not a document to you. It's a force that moves through your bones, a fire that will not be negotiated. And when you act, it's not rebellion, it's realignment. You are not breaking the law. You are replacing it with something worthy. Let them call you outlaw. Let them call you dangerous. You are beyond their definitions. You are not governed, you are governing. Most are bound by time, trapped in the past, terrified of the future, but not you. You move through time like water through fingers. It bends around you. It whispers your name in both directions, past and future alike, because you are not a moment. You are momentum. You remember lives you never lived.